Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today on the show, we have Stefan Judis. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
Yeah, so first of all, did I just murder your last name? I should have asked before we came on.
I'm very flexible on that one, but you said Stefan pretty decently, so that was nice.
And is it Judis or Judas? Or
So I would
neither?
say Stefan Judis, but I'm very open to anything. But it's also not a very common German name.
I'm very I have. There are languages that I've learned enough that I know that I'm wrong, but not enough to do it properly. And I feel like German is one of them.
Fair enough.
So I am super excited. Oh, hey, hello. Right on time. Layla Kodza, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome. What were y'all working on today? So Stefan, for people who are not familiar with your work, do you want to give a little bit of a background on who you are?
Yeah, I'm Stefan. I do JavaScript, Jamstack stuff, and I work for Contentful. And Contentful is one of the headless CMSs out there that allow you to build cool stuff for the Jamstack.
Nice. Oh, and so this is going to be kind of like for the people who just came from Layla's stream. We are going to be working on a different kind of identity. This is going to be we're going to be doing JavaScript stuff today. So Contentful is a headless CMS. It sounds like Layla knows you already, so probably this is not news. But we're going to be taking that and combining it with Stripe for payments. So that we can paywall content, and then we're going to use Netlify identity and Netlify functions to be the authentication layer, right? So I'm really excited about this. So can you tell us a little bit? I feel like there has been an explosion in the last couple of years of what gets described as a headless CMS or an API-driven CMS. What do you think caused this explosion? Where did companies like Contentful come from?
I think there are two angles to this. So the first one is the problem of shipping multi-channel. So that is a big one. And when you want to serve mobile, web, Alexa, and all these kind of things, you have to have a content management system that is platform agnostic. And usually what all the content management systems these days, or the new ones are based on is then JSON, because you can use it wherever. And so just to being ready to scale up your content for the future, this is one part. And the other part for the explosion of these new headless CMSs is, for me, is really that developers at some point didn't want to use traditional CMSs necessarily, because they wanted to do their so we're doing level 11 today, but they wanted to use their Angulars, their Reacts, their whatevers, without having something that they have to install, set up, and that kind of limits them in what they do. And I think this is where a lot of people just get excited, because they can use their favorite tech stack and can just move the burden to the people that enter the content somewhere else, but do all the fancy stuff, what people actually care about.
Yeah, I feel like this has been, the movement to the Jamstack or distributed content. What I've loved about it the most is it felt like in previous iterations, when you had full stack monolithic things, or your CMS was also your view layer, you had this kind of trade-off. There was this tension on teams where someone had to win. Either the marketing team would win and they would get the content management system they liked, and then the developers had to deal with the view layer for that content management system, or the developers would win and then the content managers had to deal with entering content in GitHub or doing something that was kind of unfamiliar or uncomfortable for them. And what I really like about this shift to the Jamstack, where you've decoupled the front end from the back end and everything happens through an API connection, is that now you don't have winners and losers. Content managers get to choose the tool that they like the best, the one that serves their purposes. And developers get to choose the tool that they like the best, that serves their purposes. And nobody's making trade-offs anymore. You're now just saying, this is the best tool for the job, and over here, this is the best tool for the job, and let's combine them through this API connection to make sure that we're building the best experiences on the web. And I feel like that just kind of kicked the doors open for a whole new wave of innovation. And I feel like we're seeing that again with corporate sites that are getting more and more creative, but also this explosion of personal sites that are getting super creative and interesting. I'm really happy to see that happening again.
Oh, I totally agree. And I worked for several companies where editors or content editors had to really this scenario with editing YAML files on GitHub.
Yep.
This is just a matter of time until everybody gets so frustrated. And when you as a developer set this up, well, then you're not everybody's friend there.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. I mean, and yeah, and I've been in those meetings, you know, where it's just like, you can tell that everybody's unhappy. Like you know that you feel like there's probably a better way to solve this, but you're making a compromise. And like, you know, the idea of compromise is great, but when you're talking about it in a tech stack sense, making a compromise like I will be unhappy with the way I edit content, that's not a good compromise, right? That just means you're adding friction, you're adding complexity, you're making it into something that is going to prevent people from wanting to make content. And that means you're going to be slow to adapt, slow to make changes, slow to generate new content. And that's all, you know, that's bad news for the business. That's bad news for everybody. Like that's going to drive morale down.
I think speed is also a big factor here. So with the new CMSs that we now have out there is that you really can separate these two things. You can take a step back, define your content structures, and then teams can really work in parallel, which you couldn't do in a monolithic thing because everybody was working on the same thing. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, yeah, we changed this and everything falls into pieces because it's like, yeah, well, everything is so tightly coupled, the data with the actual view layer. And this is a big advantage when you want to move into this decoupled approach. And it works fairly well.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it across multiple teams now, and the unifying truth of all of it is that every team that I've seen move to this method, they've been faster. You know, it comes with its own set of confusion and frustrations because, you know, now you have the opposite problem, which is instead of having one tool, you have dozens. And so trying to figure out which tool you were using for which part of the process, that can be a pain. But in
tool fatigue, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Like, if it's not one thing, it's the other. So, so with that being said, let's talk a little bit about what we're actually going to do today. And I'm going to flip over to the pairing view because we're going to be looking at a few tools. And in contrast to a standard episode of Learn with Jason, because what we're doing is relatively complex, we're going to start from a previous episode of Learn with Jason. Thor, who is in the chat today. Hello, Thor. Good to see you.
Hey, Thor.
Thor and I worked on a subscription tool where we were able to add the ability to gate and protect content. So when you're logged out, you see that you need a subscription to get any of the content. Once you log in, if I can remember what my demo password was, I think I did it. Here we go. Okay, so I'm logged in and I have a free account so I can see the free content. And then if I want to upgrade, so I can manage my subscription, and we're in the demo mode here, so I can just change it to whatever. So I'm gonna go to the premium plan. I want all the content. Confirm. And this upgrades my account. And now that I'm upgraded, I immediately can see all of the premium content. So the way that this works is heavily detailed in this article here. If you wanna see how that works, you can just grab this one, and the source code is all here. And in case you want to watch us build it live, this is the episode that Thor and I did where we built this episode, or where we built that code. So we're going to be starting with this code as as like our starting point, and we'll be expanding it to include Contentful. So we'll walk through this code a little bit, but if you want the deep dive, read the tutorial because it's going to cover a whole lot there. And what we're going to be adding today is Contentful. So, Stefan, if you want to kind of talk through a little bit about maybe if there's somewhere you want me to go on the website or some specifics that you want to talk about with Contentful, we can do that here.
So I think I can just give you 2 sentences and then we log in and then we set things up. I think that works best. So Contentful strengths is really that you define the data structures on the fly and then you can query it with the API. And what I would like to do today is to use GraphQL for that.
Okay.
Because that just became free at Contentful. So let's use the cutting edge stuff here.
Nice.
And I think the rest will explain itself when we do this. So what I would ask you to do is to log in.
All right. Now we get to find out if
Next password trouble.
Okay. Let me pull this off screen. Get over here. Oh, come on. This one. There we go. Then somewhere I have Contentful. Good. All right. So I think I need
Sweet.
to create a new space, right?
Yeah. So a space in Contentful is kind of a new bucket of data. Are you limited there now?
Let's see.
I think you're on a free plan. The space that you have will do too.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have
so what I
space
did
for
was
free.
I set up the knowledge base. So there's a cool thing that that Contentful just launched where you can like click a button and it will automatically deploy a knowledge base to Netlify with like all the configuration and everything here. So yeah, so actually we have some content, right?
We have some content, yeah. Maybe we want to start with a fresh content type to kind of walk the people through where this was coming from.
Yeah, let's do it.
What you can do now is you can go to the content model section in the top, really in the top nav bar. Yeah. And here you could create in the top right corner.
Oh, I had my window too big. I was like, why is everything cut off? Thanks for coming, Layla. Have a good day.
Content type here.
All right, I'm going to add a content type. And
so I want to go with a post just so to map, or what were the content types in the site that we have?
Well, the content types here are actually just they don't have any type really. They're unstructured. So it's just kind of like
I mean from what they are. They have an image, they have a text. Probably we could call them post. I'm just looking for how to name this bunch of data.
Sure. I mean, we could call it, Khaled's, he's suggesting product.
Then we go with product, Khaled.
Yeah, why not? Let's do it. So let's call it a product.
Cool. So, and this is all it takes to set up a new content structure. So you see there the name, and this then will have an API identifier.
Okay.
And when you now create this, we just created a new kind of type. So when you think of coming from a RESTful world, usually you had your API endpoint and then you had people/something or post/something. And what we can now do is we can define the structure of this thing. So every content type then has fields, exactly. So what we can now do is we can add a text, which is probably something like a title.
Yeah, let's maybe pull this one over to this side.
Yeah.
And we can just look at this content. So
yeah, that looks good.
So do you want to get into like media types, or do you want to bring over, I just did these all as text fields. So how would you like to tackle this here?
We could also upload these images very quickly. That shouldn't take long.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's do we'll go image alt.
The alt would go into the image itself.
Oh,
so we
perfect.
would now tackle the string fields first. So it would be.
Do the credits and like credit links go into the image field as well?
An asset in Contentful has two fields, which is a title and a description. We could probably put it into description to kind of unify these.
No, that's okay. I mean, I think we don't need to customize or anything. I was just making sure that there wasn't like a built-in image attribution kind of model or something.
The thing with Contentful is that it's really very flexible to all the things. If you need something, you can always mush together certain content types to kind of create a bigger thing. For now, I would really with this one, just start with a title or something to give this entry, which is a product, a name first of all.
Okay,
something like this. Yeah. So and then we could add another field, which is, for example, then an media asset, which you see below.
Okay.
And there what do we call it? Yeah, image. Image works usually, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, especially in this case, right? And this is going to be one file. That seems like the right thing.
Yeah, so we can create this one.
Okay.
And then we see that we have a message in the predefined data.
Okay.
So we go, yeah. It is a fairly short message, so a short text field. So we have two kind of field types in Contentful. So for longer field types, which would usually be something like a markdown or something. But in this case, I think with one sentence, we can go with a short text field. That works fine.
Okay.
And then we would have to come up with this allowed roles kind of thing, which we're going to use to figure out what is actually accessible.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what we could do here is we could also use a string field, but we could use it as a collection. So when you add now another content type, for another field,
Okay.
so you could choose text again.
Text.
In the top, yeah. And now you could tick the little list box on the right side there. Yeah, exactly. And now I could tick, yeah. And now you could click create and configure.
Okay.
So basically what we're now setting up is an array of short lists. And you can go into the validation tab. And you could say the last one is accept only specific values.
Oh, cool.
We could now go in with free, pro, and premium, and you can hit enter here. Yep.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay.
And then the last thing that we can do is we can change the appearance, and also on the top bar of the type. Yeah. And I prefer the checkboxes. What do you think?
I think that makes sense, especially for this one.
Yeah, I think so too. Then we can save that.
Okay.
And when you now go into the interface so these are now the first fields. And I think that it makes sense that we just now start querying the data, and we can always extend it going further.
Okay, so let's make this bigger again, and we'll go back in here. And then I save.
And it's save. Yeah. And what we now just did is really, we just set up a content structure that we are ready to set up for like we talked about speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
We could set this up, and now we could give other people could go to the content tab in the really top navbar, and really could now start creating stuff here. So when you click now add entry in the top right corner, we should have our product there.
All right.
And now we can start filling this with data. All
right. So let's do free corgi, and then we can create a new.
Always up for free corgis.
So let's grab. Let's see. This is our free one. So let's go to this here, and I will just I can just download this real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I can download this real quick. Okay, here we go. And then
you can upload it, and yep.
Okay, so here's our corgi.
Nice. That's a big corgi, huh?
Yeah, the Unsplash stuff is pretty large.
Yeah.
And now, oh, cool.
We would have to give it a title and a description.
Okay, we give it a title and a description. So it pulled in free corgi for us.
We could use a description for the alt text, for example.
For the alt text? Okay, so let's look at. Here's our alt text. Okay.
Cool. So now we can hit publish here. So Contentful has the idea of draft and publish content. So whenever something is published, it's publicly, then you can fetch it via one API endpoint for the published stuff. And then we have unpublished data in draft mode. For that, we have a different API.
Okay.
So when you want to build, for example, preview things or something so that editors can see stuff before they hit the big green button, you can fetch that data in a different way.
Got it. Okay.
So with this, we now set up our first asset, and we can close this again by clicking And what else are we missing? So a message, which we had in your data, which was
here
to view. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, what we were doing with this was we were basically trying to meta communicate with the content so that it was clear what you were getting. And then this one is free only.
Cool.
So
what we could now do is that we could publish this, and basically we just set up our first content entry.
Okay. So what we are missing on this, and I guess we can go back and do this later, is we're missing alt text or the credit. And I just want to make sure that we don't forget to credit the photographer.
Then let's edit a field for credit now. So
okay.
That we don't forget it, huh?
Do I just go back into content model?
Yeah, and you add a new field then here. So what we could do is we could either wrap our image into another content type, so that we could have something like product image, which holds an image with a title and description, but would hold also credit information.
Okay.
Case here, to just kind of assemble data in different pieces.
I see what you mean.
For our case, I think it makes sense to just add another field and say credit.
That makes sense. Okay, so let's do that. We'll do credit. That's going to be short text. And then we want another one for credit link, which I assume is text.
Yep.
Okay.
So this would also be a short text. So credit URL or
then
credit link.
Is there a special?
If you want to, you could configure it. So when you go now to the appearance field, we have a no, for the appearance.
Oh, appearance. Sorry.
Yeah, you could now use URL, and then we would see a little preview in the editor interface if we want to.
Yeah. Why not? Let's take a look at that. That sounds cool to me. So let's go back into our content. Saved.
Yeah, saved. Cool.
Here's our corgi.
Free corgi.
And here's our credit. Okay. So let's get our... Hey, thank you so much for the bits. Very much appreciated. So here's our link. So I'll drop this link. And then I apparently can't select this guy's name without going into it. So let's go here. All right. Okay. So cool. now we have like everything we need for that entry. Do you want me to do the same thing for the other two?
We can do it now, or we can start querying the data first, whatever you prefer.
I'm following your lead. You're in charge.
Then let's set up the other ones too very quickly.
Okay, cool. Let's
then would be add entry.
Okay, product.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got we had to make up our title. So this is Pro Corgi. Yep. Create new asset and link. Khaled's saying that you can do this with the URL to upload directly. Is that true?
Huh. Can you click the drag and drop interface and open the file selector? And, pro tip from Mr. Khaled here.
All right, so let's grab this. Here's our URL.
Magic.
Beautiful. Oh, look, it even pulled it in at the right size for us. That's nice. Okay, so we should probably go back and do that for the other one too, so they're all the same size. So
I think this comes from the Unsplash URL though. See, you have their crop and stuff.
Right. So, well, actually, here's a question. I know that Contentful has its own like image, like media manipulation. Do you want me to do these full size so that we can do that?
We can do it with Contentful too. So if we want to clean it up and use Contentful, it's probably better to. So when you're dealing with content, you probably want to have the high res stuff in there. And
okay, so let's do that instead. So let me trash it. Get out of here. All right. We're gonna get a bigger corgi. There we go.
6 megabytes.
Yeah, big old files.
Big old corgi. Yeah.
And then we've got. This is our actual.
No, we would need the alt first.
Yeah, we need that. We need the alt. Here. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's our alt. Goes there.
Yeah.
This is our Pro Corgi.
Yep.
All right. Well, that just got so much easier not having to download those. Then I can come back. Yeah. Did I need to publish this?
You need to publish it.
Okay.
So.
Okay, it says published. Oh, this is the draft. That's why.
I'm not. Okay, let's see what happens.
I guess we're all learning together today. All right. Let's see. So here's our message. This one is available on Free and Pro, and our credit is Florencia Potter.
That's a beautiful name.
It is. And then here's the link. Okay.
Cool.
All right. So there's our pro, and then we'll do
that one
more. Let's see. Did it do the full thing? That one's still marked as a draft.
We might hit a. Can you just change something? Yeah, or unpublish and publish it again.
Yeah, we'll unpublish it, and then we'll publish it.
And publish.
Now it's just that might have just been hung up. Okay, so we're all good. We're published.
Cool. And
we'll
one
do
last one then.
yes, premium corgi. All right, so we'll create a new asset and link. That's going to be this one here, and we'll skip the
demanipulation. Yeah.
Okay, so this is premium. Oh wait, premium. Match the format. Open, do the URL here.
Man, that makes my day with the URL.
Yeah, that really is nice. That
yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a game changer, right? Like that's the sort of stuff that really makes a big difference. Because if we'd had to go and like download each of those, you know, I feel like we'd still be halfway through the second one right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good.
Publish
so
that one.
Publish. All right.
Yep.
Come back out here, and then we need the message. Great. It's available only on. Let's see, it needs
only on premium, huh?
Or wait, yeah, this. Oh, I did that wrong. We need to make sure that it's only available on the highest one. And then we've got our Cole Keister and URL.
Almost there.
All right.
Cool.
Good deal.
So with this now we have 3 corgis available, and I think that we could start querying this data with GraphQL.
Yes. So I'm just going to fix this so that it's only available on Pro. Now I'm ready.
Yep. Cool. So I would now just Google Contentful GraphQL to just quickly spin up the documentation for GraphQL to find a GraphQL, which is a tool to...
Here?
Can you just... no, just Google Contentful GraphQL to... Or go to the docs there. Yep.
Here.
And then that looks good. And now you can do Command F and look for GraphQL, because GraphQL comes with its own tooling. Yep. And which means that for GraphQL, usually you don't have to read a lot of documentation, because the tooling provides you all the things that you need. So what you can do now is you can grab this URL there, and then we see that we have to replace a few things, but we will grab them in a second. Okay. So the first thing is that you have to say which space you want to query the data from. Do you get that in Contentful?
Is that this one?
Yeah. Yeah. URL does it. Yeah.
Okay.
That looks great.
Got it.
And then we need a CDA token. So this is where this episode comes into play. So the thing is with Contentful is that all the published content that you have in there is accessible when you have this token.
Okay.
This is why we're gonna adjust your serverless function to hide this token to the public, because otherwise people could just, so developers could figure out, oh, this is running Contentful, and oh, here's the token, and could just query away all the gated content that we want to deal with. So this is why we're going to hide it. And when you're not dealing with paid content or gated content, that is usually not a big deal, because the rule with headless CMSs is that you should only have public content in there anyways, unless you have a special case like we do here right now.
Right. Okay.
So we can now go to settings in the top right. Yep. And we can go to the API keys.
Okay.
And you can grab the example key, or you create a new one.
An example key. Yeah, maybe I'll take this example key. Or wait, do I need content delivery? That's the right thing. So I'm going to get my example key.
Delivery. Yeah. And then here you see again the space ID, and then the content delivery API access token.
Okay.
Is the one that you want to grab.
And now these are public, or do I need to roll these when this is over?
So the content delivery API one is assuming that you're using Contentful for public data, and for example, you're building a different application. You have that in public anyways at some point. Because, for example, when you do, I don't know, React or Angular, you have to have this in your request to be able to access the data.
Sure.
So there, with the delivery API token, there is not much risk, because it's common practice to have that in public. For the preview API token, for our little case, it is the unpublished data, which will become public eventually. Right. So you could roll these, but I would say for our sake here, it's not a big deal. These
So
most of
this
these tokens don't have.
This one then only needs to be private if you're worried about someone like snooping on draft content.
For example, you're Apple and you have your new product releases.
I gotcha.
You don't want to have that token somewhere.
Yeah. So there's a question in the chat about Brandon's asking, like, so would you not use a headless API if you had any private data?
No. Quick and short. So the idea of headless CMSs usually is that you use them for public data. If you now want to build your infrastructure to hide all these tokens, all the cases, you could do this. But the general case for these systems is to publish to platforms. And if you want to go for other use cases, you have to be really careful that you don't leak the tokens. And
so I will say
a little bit.
Like a kind of a yes and to that is like what we're doing today is we are going to have private data in a headless API. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use a serverless function as a proxy. So when you use a serverless function, all of the tokens that you use inside of a serverless function are kept private. They're not accessible to the outside world. So for example, if you wanted to load your Contentful content on your site, you could just query all of the content in a serverless function, and that would keep that key private so that someone wouldn't be able to use it and just hit your API for whatever.
Yeah, you have to be very careful with these tokens when you want to do things like we do right now.
Okay, so I want to get product collection. This is one of the things I like about GraphQL is that I clicked this button here for docs, and I can just see, we start out with the schema. I can see that I can query. So it's read only. We can only read data. And then I can just scroll through and see what my options are. And this is what we created today, product and product collection. And I want my collection back, not a single product. So I can just do something like this. And I'm going to just get them all. Let's get our items. And we'll get
that looks good.
Title. Oh, that's got some fields. Got a URL.
So our URL.
Beautiful. Here's our description for our alt. What else do we need? A credit link.
And we had what was it? Allowed. Yeah.
Allowed roles. And then did we have one more? It was like a message. Yeah. I think that was everything.
And now
look at it go.
Beautiful.
That is gorgeous is what that is. I mean, and this is really where I think this gets so exciting because like, we now have a fully functional data API and I can hand this off. Like I could send this to my content management team and they could create new protected content without ever having to look at the code. They only have to look here. This is the only tab they ever need to look at and they can control everything on the website. And I only ever have to deal with this API. If I'm on this API, I can get all of my items and I'm super happy because I have exactly what I need and nothing more. It's really, really nice. So, okay. I'm ready to.
That was a quick rundown on GraphQL here. Wow.
I'm a big fan of GraphQL. And actually, let me do a quick shout out. If you are interested in learning more about GraphQL, after the show today, the GraphQL Summit is live right now. So you can jump over there and learn more about what they're doing. So I'll drop that link in the chat for you. Look at this. Here we go. So we've got products. We have products. We have the ability to, right now our content is loaded here. So I think if I'm understanding correctly, all we really need to do at this point is swap out where we're getting our content from.
Correct. Now we could go into the serverless function that currently gives us the content, and we could fetch the data using the GraphQL API that we just already wrote the query for.
Perfect. Let me fork this, and I'm going to put it on Learn with JSON. And let's rename this to, we'll call this, what do we want to call it? Contentful Stripe Paywall.
Yep.
Okay. So we have our paywall now. And in here, I'm going to get this cloned. And I'm using the hub tool so I can do this with shorthand.
Yeah, getting the code down. And now...
let's see, am I using yarn or npm? npm. So let's get all of our basic setup here. And then I believe I can just immediately deploy this. So I'm going to get this set up on Netlify to deploy, which I will do from the command line, which is nice. So let's Netlify init. And because it's already deployed on GitHub, I can just create and configure. And I'm going to put it on my team. We're going to call this Contentful Stripe Paywall. Okay. So that's basically deployed. There we go. Okay. So then if I open this, right. This is going to fail because we're missing some environment variables. But we can fix that.
So the setup before had tokens for Stripe and Fauna, and we would have to need to add the Contentful token.
Okay, perfect. My variable thing is handled here. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to use the same setup from the other one, so that we don't have to reconfigure Stripe, because that would take a little bit of time, and I want to make sure we don't run out. So let's go, here's Stripe subscriptions. Let's go into our settings, get those environment variables, and then I can just grab my Fauna, I gotta edit. My Fauna server key. Did I not open to, one second, let me open another tab so we can just move between. All right, settings. Build and deploy environment. So I have a Fauna server key, and then I have a Stripe default price plan.
Yep.
And this is the name of in Stripe you create prices, basically. Then we've got a secret key, and that secret key is how Stripe identifies that we actually own our account. And then we have a webhook secret, which is how we can make sure that somebody's not spoofing requests to our API. And we can talk a little bit more about that once we get into this code. Then the next thing that we're going to need, Contentful, what's this called?
CDA, Content Delivery API, token, or key, or yeah.
Okay.
And then we have it still in the URL here. Yep.
Got it. Should we include the space in here as well?
Yes, that is a good call. So Contentful space ID is also needed.
Okay, so let's get the space ID, and then I'm going to grab this, and we're going to drop that in. Okay, so now
here we go.
We have everything that we need here, and here's what's really exciting about this. Now that we've added these on Netlify, if I run Netlify dev, it will pull all of these down for us. So it's already pulling these locally so that we can just like work instead of having to set up an .env file or anything like that. So if we look now, we've got our content, and oh, did it not work? My site is configured for the wrong Netlify identity. I can fix that. So what I need to do here is we need to log in. I'm going to clear my localhost URL. I'm going to go out to this one that we just created, and I'm going to enable identity.
That makes sense.
Okay, so now that I've enabled identity, I am going to take my URL here, and I'm going to put that into localhost here. And so now what we're doing is we're connecting our local environment to the published site so that they're all part of the same thing. And nobody is signed up for this one yet, so we'll just sign up real quick.
How do you blur the tokens and the secrets? Is a question.
That's a plugin from, or it's a Chrome extension, sorry, from Sarah Drasner called Netlify Masker. And
only for Netlify?
Yeah, she specifically built this one because the Netlify environment variables are not hidden, Like what we should do, and this is something that's on our backlog, is we should have a visibility toggle for our environment variables. But right now we haven't done that. So Sarah built this in the interim that makes it faster. It was like, this is a Band-Aid solution. Eventually we'll solve this for real. Okay, so I have a confirmation message. So I'm going to go to my email real quick, and I'm going to copy this link. And what we get on the link is a like big old long hash. Oh, come on. Never mind. It's an obfuscated Mandrill app. Don't give me that. I want that hash. Why? Also, it totally validated my account. Okay, so that it did work, which means that over here now I should be able to sign in. So if I go to log in, my email is confirmed. What? Okay. I have to like get this. You're not going to show me that hash, are you? Okay. So why doesn't it want to take... Do I have something hard-coded here? $402 payment required. That's what we would expect. And then if I... Identity token. Okay, I'm not signed up, but why would this one... Okay, let's look at the code real quick and see if there's something that is happening that would require this to not boot. So let's open this up. And we have our functions and we have our source code. So in our source code, we can run through this. We won't look at the style. The CSS just makes it look kind of nice. So we've got our login button and our sign up button, right? And then we have our actual content. The content is by default just an empty div, and we load the content you have privilege to see into these divs asynchronously. This is the template for that content. It loads a figure and the credit and everything. We load in Netlify identity. And then down here, we have our buttons. Our buttons run the login and sign up actions. And those happen whenever you click one of these buttons. Then when we update the user info, we change these buttons to log out or manage. Okay, that makes sense. Now the part that I'm trying to figure out is what is this thing doing that makes it think I can't validate this user?
Is there some other configuration that we missed?
I don't think so. Oh, I almost got it. There was an error verifying your account. Let me just try to sign up through here and let's see if it makes a difference. Okay, so that should have sent me another confirmation email. Oh, come on. Can I like automatically confirm?
Maybe you can just resend the email, or you got the email now the second time.
Yeah, I thought I did. Let's see. Here's a reset password email. Let's see what happens. Database error updating user. I'm going to delete this user and let's try again. Okay, so here's this user. Delete, delete. Goodbye. All right, now I'm going to sign up. Okay, so that says it should have worked. Let's see if we have a user now. It says it created the user. Here is a confirmation link. I might have just done something weird where when I signed up, I was on the old. What? Why? Why are you like this? Okay. So maybe it's the identity sign up, but that should work.
Does it still work on the base that we cloned? You have that still on Netlify, right? The one that you built with Thor?
Yeah, but this should all work too. And we did deploy all this. Oh, it's not deployed because it was broken, which means I need to, oh.
I'm not following. What was broken?
It was missing all of the environment variables. So because we hadn't set them when we deployed the site. Okay, so let me take a quick second to explain what just went wrong. So when we cloned this repo and set it up on Netlify, it automatically started building the site. And the site will build fine without environment variables, but it will be missing all of the like functions. We can't do the extra stuff. So because I didn't rebuild the site after we set up our environment variables, we had like a partially functioning site, which means now if I theoretically go and do this again, because we just rebuilt. Yep. Okay, do the thing. Just work. Yes. Okay. So that was the problem.
So what you're basically saying is that the function that is connected to identity was erroring out because the values were empty, correct?
Yeah. So what was happening is when we have the way this function works, or maybe we should walk through the code here. When you sign up, you're going to get sent a confirmation link. And then whenever you create an account in Netlify, you have the option to create this identity-signup.js serverless function. And what this serverless function will do is it will get the new user that was created and let you do something with that user. So what we're doing is we're grabbing that new user and then we're creating a new Stripe customer. For that Stripe customer, we're creating a free subscription. And then once we have that free subscription, we save the Netlify ID and the Stripe customer ID into Fauna. And so that Fauna content is our map of which Netlify user is which Stripe customer. Once we've saved that, then we set their role to be free. So we immediately create an account and give somebody the free subscription when they sign up for the app. And that's how all of that works. So what we were doing is we were missing this Stripe secret key, this default price plan. And so when it was trying to load, this function would just throw an error, which was causing the whole sign up process to fail. And that was, so that was a confusing error.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So I bet if I had looked at the function logs, that would have been far more clear than just, guessing at what was going on. That was what was going on.
Stripe that's something like missing token or something, right? Or missing.
Exactly. And actually, I think we can still see that if we go look here, we should be able to go look at the functions and we can see our identity sign up. Oh, no, when we redeployed, it cleared the logs, but we would have seen the errors here in this function logs.
Cool.
Okay, so now we have a deployed site, we have an account, we're ready to roll. So what I can do here, this is what we're doing now. So we have our content, and the way this function works right now is that we get in the type of content, so free, pro, or premium, and then we grab the currently logged in user out of context, client context. And if we look at the actual call for this content, it happens get protected content. We are grabbing the user token out of Netlify identity, which is a JSON web token. And then we pass that in as our authorization header. And because we're using Netlify identity with Netlify functions, we don't have to manually validate that JSON web token. Netlify is going to do that for us. And that gives us this user, the client context that has our user in it. So we can just pull out the roles. And if we look in Netlify at our identity here, we can see now that the role of free was automatically applied when I validated my account. So as far as the code is concerned, the first time that we call this, I'm trying to load, free, premium, pro content. My user roles are free. And then I'm going to check here if the roles match any of these. So basically, if the allowed roles includes the given role, I was wrong. We do have to check the box for all types in Contentful, because this is going to say, like, if I have a free role and I'm trying to load premium content, I should be able to see, if I have the premium role and I'm trying to load free content, I should be able to see that. So we do want that to work. If it doesn't work, we bounce them out with a 402, which is the HTTP code for payment required. And we send a placeholder, which basically says you need a subscription. If not, we send the content. And that is the whole magic of what's going on here. We're checking to see if the current user has the required role to view content. If so, we send them the content. So what we need to change here is where we're getting this content from.
Yeah. So, and I already seen that you have a utils function to fetch from Fauna. So I would have a look at this one and probably create a utils. Exactly. That's exactly the stuff that we also need for Contentful. So what we can do is we can create a new utils function that is called Contentful.
Yep. I'm actually just going to copy paste it too, because we're going to use a whole bunch of the same basic setup.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally.
So we're going to use node fetch so that we can use the fetch API, which is like a browser default.
Yeah. To make HTTP requests. And now we should be able to only change the URL, which is the first parameter. So here's now you have to, let's grab this one.
And then we're going to swap out.
I would now do here the Explorer. We can remove the Explorer there.
Remove the Explorer.
I prefer and I would usually pass the token via a header, because this feels more like GraphQL natural to me. So we can get rid of that one too. And the space ID, we don't want to keep this hard coded. So what you see there is content v1 spaces. So we have theoretically this available in process env contentful space ID. Yep. And then we would have to set the authorization bearer token. Yeah, that looks good.
And the bearer would be our space ID, right?
No, the CDA token.
CDA token.
Full CDA token. And then we would have to define our query, which we will get from the top. So that looks good. I don't think that we will use, and we should rename it from Fauna Fetch probably to Contentful Fetch. What do you think?
Yeah, that seems like a good idea. That'll get confusing in a hurry otherwise. Okay.
And I know that the Contentful API needs the content type to application being set instead of the headers object. So from line to 10, we can define custom headers for this. I think now you have to quote it because you're using a dash.
Oh, yep, you're right.
And then this should be application JSON, application dash JSON.
Is that right?
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah. Okay.
Application JSON is correct, I think. So with this, we can now go into our get protected content
So we're going to get Contentful Fetch.
Yep.
Out of our utilities.
Yep.
And then we're going to load.
To content, I would below, so in line 33, I would also define our contentful query first, so that we don't have it in all this logic too. So the query that we have in the graphical tool is what we're going to pass.
Yes. Okay. So let's grab that here.
Yep. Yeah.
And then we're gonna have to figure out. Let's see. We need to load the content.
Yeah. So what we now would do is await contentful fetch.
Yep. So content
const
await contentful
full fetch,
and it'll have a
and this
query.
now- yeah, and yeah, you can pass it like this. Yeah.
Okay. And then I think for variables, we didn't declare a default, so I'm just going to put it in as an
Cool, that
empty
makes sense.
object. And then once we get that back, I think we can take the response and response.json. Okay.
Wasn't it in the function actually? Can you go to Contentful?
Oh, did I do it already? Oh, I did. I absolutely did. Good call. Good call.
So
All right.
actually, await should do the trick.
Await should do the trick. So now what's going to come back is going to be different from our data type before. So what was happening before is we were getting, I'm going to rename this so it doesn't give us big errors.
Yeah.
We had the role and then we had the data. So we have a couple things that we've got to figure out. First, we were getting the allowed roles by using the content and then getting the type that was requested by here. So for this, we're going to have to change that by doing like a, let's see.
We could iterate over the objects, huh? What do you think?
Yeah, we'll have to do like a, actually, let's do this. Let's rename these to the role types because that'll be faster than trying to write specialty stuff. So let's call this one Pro. And then it's going to need to also include our free plans because the free, if you have a free role, you'll be able to see that.
Yep.
And then Premium is going to be renamed to Premium. And we want to check all these boxes. And free is going to be free.
All these free.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay.
Yep.
So then when we do this query, we're going to have a title of free. And so what we can do is filter down instead of doing the content type.
You just
we
want
can
to do
do
a quick filter over the title.
Yeah. So we can do a content, let's see. Let's see, we want the content, or we'll call this requested content, will be content.find, and we can do like c.title equals type, and that gives us the actual content type that was requested.
You have to go down though. So content currently is something with product collection items. So when you look at the response
You're right.
again,
You're right. Yep. So actually, let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah, that is better. That is good.
So that'll be the response dot.
And the data, I think.
Does it come back as data? I think I do that already. No, I don't.
No.
Okay. Or what does Fauna do when we do this? Does it give us a Fauna fetch result.data? You're right. You're right.
I think this is GraphQL spec. So in a GraphQL response, you have always data because errors can come too. So you get a good status code anyways, and then you have data. And if there are errors, you always have to check for this property if it's available. Got it.
Yeah, so we'll just kind of assume that it is going to work. And then for the allowed for the allowed roles, then we have those here. So once we have our content, then we can just say the allowed roles are coming out of the requested content. Okay. So
yeah, that looks good to me.
And then we would just return the requested content. What we didn't do is clean these up. What do you think? Should we map these to match this object shape, or?
I would honestly fix the template quickly.
Okay, let's do that instead.
Forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will go out here and we're going to get back our, let's see, we get our data, and our data is going to come back with let's make this over here, and we'll put this over here and make it as big as we can. So in here, we're going to get back data. Our data is going to be data.image.url.
Image URL, yeah, and then image description.
Okay. Data credit link, data.credit, those stay the same.
Works.
Data.message.
Yeah.
I think we're okay.
Oh,
excellent.
No, let's
give it a shot. Let's see if this
cool.
works.
Let's give that a try.
So we've got is our site running right now?
Yeah, cool thing is that we with Netlify Dev can run it locally with a function setup, right?
Yes. So you've got Netlify Dev going here. Running. Good. So let's log in. Heyo. Okay, things are going wrong. Things are going wrong, but not all is lost. So let's figure out what.
We got a response.
Yeah, let's figure out what that response was. Let me drop this over to this side so it's a little bigger. And then we ran get protected content, and it returned title, message, image.
Huh, did we miss something here?
Did we get this wrong? Do I need to just reload the page maybe? I needed to reload the page. Okay. So, but I'm noting one thing is missing here, which is that right now we are loading, if I pop this open into a new tab, we're loading the full 6 megabyte monster. So can we clean this up a little bit? How much are we? Oh, we've got so much time left. I thought we were like right on the wire. Okay, yeah, this is great. We've got some room to grow here.
So here to do that, so images you can do that in two ways with Contentful. So first thing is every URL for an image that is on Contentful, you could just append query parameters. For that, we would have then to read the documentation now to figure out what is going on. What we can do too is we can use the graphical interface and figure out what filters are available, and graphical will then figure out the URL for us. Does that sound good?
Wait, graphical will do it for us?
Well, graphical will build the URL for us. So when you now go into, can we open the docs for, and we can go product collection, drill into product collection, and then product image is an asset, and here we have
what?
Width, height, transforms.
Oh, this is cool. Okay.
So you can now just drill in and we can define what we want to do.
URL. Transform.
Yeah.
And I want to get a width of what was our width before? Let me check. I have too many things open.
It's a little bit handier than defining the URLs.
Oh my God, that's a game changer. Let's see. We were doing 600 by 600.
I think we have the same parameters available too.
So let's go, let's see, where did my graphical go? Here. So we want 600. We'll go 600. Height. 600.
And then we have quality
of
what
80.
Wow. And there was a third one.
Look at all those. That's cool. This is really cool. What does that mean? Let me click into this. I want to see what these are. Defaults to fit. Oh, wow. Okay, that is really cool.
If you're resizing the image, you can crop it and you can define, okay, where should it actually go?
Excellent. So we want to use that. We're going to do a resize of fill because we want it to fill, not or I guess they would all kind of do the same thing.
Because we're defining exact dimensions, right? So when you have an image that is for example, a landscape and you want to make it square, you have to kind of figure out what you want to do. Right?
Yeah.
Do you want to have a padding on top of the button, or do you want to fit it somehow in there?
Okay. So I understand what the difference is. So fill will expand it. Crop
To
won't
match
expand
the
it.
longer one.
Is that right? Like if we tried to crop, but the dimensions we wanted were bigger than the image, crop wouldn't do that, but fill will. Fill will like blow up an image. If I understand correct, I think that's the major difference.
Well, I think we can just figure that out, right? Because we're dealing with a square here. We have the original one, and we can see what happens.
We do. So let's go. This is amazing.
So you see that now that the URL now has the parameters that you need.
That is great. Right. Okay, so then
the URL.
Yeah,
let's see what the other ones do.
So let's try. I'm gonna make it too big. Let's make it to 6,000, and I've got it on crop right now. Valid transformation is false. If I set it to fill.
That is.
Oh, maybe I'm just outside of the like what Contentful considers to be acceptable. Let's try 3,000.
Looks like it.
It's working on this one. Okay, so with that one, it did what we wanted. With this one.
With this one, it makes it, wait.
I think it...
3,000.
So I think fill will force it to fill the space, whereas crop won't. So I don't think this image is 3,000 tall. So it wouldn't force it to be 3,000 tall to avoid like pixelation or something. Whereas fill is like, I don't care. So if we go to fill,
let's make it fit into the dimensions.
Yeah. So if I blow it up to full size, we can see where that's happening. So like this is how big it is. We can kind of do this bokeh to show. Here's the 3 bokeh points. If I set this to crop and blow it up, our 3 bokeh points, I think, are these 3 here. And you can see that it had to expand that image in the fill strategy. So that's just it telling us like you can't break our stuff. So I guess in our case, we probably do want fill because if someone uploads an image that's too small, we wouldn't want to break our layout. So I can take this. I'm going to move this directly over into our code. And it goes on URL. Going to save. And what we should see immediately.
Refresh.
Boom. Look at them go. And now if I open these in a new tab, there are our 600 pixel wide corgis. Excellent.
Cool. Can you open GraphQL again? And let's check if we get the image dimensions, because right now what we do is that the image. What happened?
My logic is wrong. Why is my logic wrong? Okay. So right now I have the free plan, which means I have the free role, which means when we are doing our allowed roles.
Someone said that we ticked the wrong boxes.
Was that Your logic isn't wrong. Stripe just doesn't understand you. That is yes, that's exactly what it is. While you're talking to Stripe, can you also tell my mom? Okay, so I have my roles. My roles. How did I do this here? Free gets all of them.
Behave exactly the same.
I did it wrong. You're right. I did it completely backwards. Thank you, chat, for teaching me how to do this stuff. I swear one of these days I'm going to get this stuff right. So free, pro, and premium, everybody can see the free content. So you check all 3 boxes for the free content. And then only premium and pro accounts can see, or this is premium. So only premium can see premium. And only pro and premium can see pro. Okay, so that should fix it. And I think if I just
twist the logic here.
Yeah, it bends my head Okay, so we'll head back. Uh-oh. What doesn't it like?
But we are...
So it did what we wanted. It gave us a 402, but it didn't send back. Oh, because we didn't change the shape of the content. So for this one now, it needs to be image URL and description.
Wait, but this is a dummy content, isn't it?
Yeah, but we changed the shape of the data, what we're reading for. What am I missing here? Cannot read property URL of undefined.
So with image URL.
Yeah. So in our index.html, we're looking for data.image.url. Blocked the content. I don't think I blocked the content. It should be returning. Yeah, if the roles.
But this is not correct here, right? This should be different, shouldn't it?
Isn't that what I changed? Wait, where did I just change that data? Oh my God.
You changed the dummy data. Yeah. We're getting somewhere, Jason. We're getting there.
Okay. All right. Let's fix this for real then. So here's our description. And here is the URL. All right. So that should work. All right. Let's try this one.
That looks good.
There we go.
Here we go.
See, if you write the code properly, then it does what you want it to do. Jeez. Okay. So good. All right, we've got it. We are effectively now protecting content in the Contentful space. So if we go back in and we want to swap this out, like let's change what our free content is. I can go find on Unsplash. Let's find more corgis. There we go. Let's get this image address and we'll go in here and we'll say, I want this corgi to be a different corgi. So we're going to trash it. I feel bad saying that. I didn't mean it, corgi. You don't go in the trash.
Yeah, let's remove the query stuff.
Get rid of that. And then we will get got to flow. Here's the new credit. Give it some meaningful alt text. We'll publish. Come back out here, update the credit. And now,
yeah, there we go.
Once we've published, boom, we've done it. We now have a content management system hooked up to access control. So if I go in and let's update my subscription, we want all the corgis. Actually, let's go pro. We did premium before. So I'm gonna upgrade to the pro plan. I'm in test mode, so we can use the just any, basically it's all 4.2 and then any valid like future date and any zip code will pass. So we can continue. I have a pro account and let's go back and look at it.
Take the feedback from the chat. I will take the feedback that we should make it more clear that the URL works.
Make it more clear that which URL works?
That the URL and the image upload works, actually. I'm just talking to the people in the chat.
I did something wrong. So which thing missed?
You should have now a new role in Netlify, right?
Oh, I know what it is. We didn't tell Stripe to send the webhook, so it didn't actually update our.
Well, it probably updated the wrong site, didn't it?
It sent a update for a user that doesn't exist. So let's go into Stripe. What? What was that?
So many identities today.
Wait, when did Stripe add? When did I enable that? Is a better question. Okay, so we did this with Corgi subscriptions, and so we're in test data. So if I go to my developers and webhooks, I need to set up a new webhook. So right now we have one webhook, which is the live like Jamstack subscriptions. We want to add a new one for this site. Where is it?
Yeah.
Here. So I'm going to take this URL and let's take a look at what the webhook is. So we start here and then we need to get into the functions, and the function that we want is handle subscription. So our handle subscription change, I should say. So let me set this up and then we'll talk about it while we're waiting for it to Netlify functions handle subscription change.js. And we want to send which one? Customer subscription updated.
Yep.
That one. I'm going to add an endpoint. Okay. And now I need to get this signing secret, and this is in test mode, so I'm going to reveal it. What? What? Oh yeah, without the JS part. Good catch. Thanks, chat. So now that I have this, I'm going to head into my overview. Let's go to the environment variables, and I'm going to swap out my webhook secret. So now it's going to send to this site, and we've got a different webhook secret for that. So so what's happening is whenever we make a subscription change, whenever I fill out that form, it's going to send an object to this endpoint. And then what we'll do with that is we grab that data out. We use the Stripe library to make sure that it's a valid request so that somebody couldn't just say like, you know, oh yeah, good call. Let me start the rebuild. Thanks.
Yeah, kick off the rebuild.
Fortunately, this is a very fast site, so it should build pretty quickly. So while we get the webhook from Stripe, and then we validate that it's legit, which we do by sending this webhook secret, and that prevents somebody from figuring out what our webhook for subscription change is and just saying like, "Hey, I'm premium," and never actually setting up their account. Then we check to see if it's the right event. So if it's a customer subscription updated event. If it's not, we just bail immediately. If it is, we get the subscription object. We go and find the Netlify account ID of the person with whatever Stripe ID just updated their account. We get that from subscription.customer. We pull out the Netlify ID from our result, and then we turn our subscription plan into a new role and send a request to the Netlify identity admin URL or API with the new role. So we update the app metadata roles. And so this identity, this is the like, users can modify their user metadata. So you probably don't want to use that for authentication. App metadata can only be modified by the app. And since you're in a serverless function, you can modify your app. So we get the identity admin API out of client context, and it gives us an API token that's very short-lived that will let us make requests when we have this function running. So basically what we're doing is we're saying, hey, I'm an admin, I'm the app. I want to change the roles for this user. And then we update them to whatever the level of subscription is that they had. And then we just send back some kind of acknowledgement to Stripe so that it doesn't tell me that the thing is broken. So now that is done, that's deployed, everything worked, let's change our subscription again.
Yeah.
So I'm going to manage my subscription. And I'm going to go to free and then back to pro. And we should be able to see in the dashboard here that when we reload, there will be webhook attempts. Have these just not sent yet, or? Am I missing a piece? Let's see.
Did the call come in?
Go to the events tab. Events tab. Yeah, it's not doing the thing. I'm in test data. I'm giving a bunch of shit. I'm giving a bunch of people's emails away. That was bad. I shouldn't have done that. Webhooks. There should have been an event here because I updated my account. You hackers, you dirty hackers. So what's missing? Why isn't this happening?
Can we open the function logs to see if a call comes in?
Yeah.
Just to be very sure.
Let's go here. We'll go to handle subscription change. It's not showing me any requests.
And then toggle again something.
Yeah, so let's go here. Did I just typo this? Like, did I just get it wrong? So my webhook.
Contentful Stripe paywall. It doesn't need a slash or something at the end, right?
No, that's the thing. Customer subscription updated. I probably typoed this, so let's just try it again. Good, good, good. I'm going to send a test. Yes.
All right.
Okay, so this is the data that we get back, and it's going to tell us, yeah, it's got like a ID and stuff, and now we got a 400 because there's no Netlify identity user that matches. But it sends in. Yeah. But it sends in our data, our object. We get our subscription back. All right, so that should all work, and we should see here
a call. Yeah,
that we got a call. Now we got a call. It did what it didn't fail. It did what it was supposed to do, which was respond with a 400. So that means that it is at least hooked up. So let's try this. Actually, let me go back here. Maybe I just needed to be on this page. So let's change. We'll go to free. I'm going to confirm. Okay. How do I get out of this? And then we should see.
Yeah, that one was it, wasn't it? 5226.
Come on now.
The last log?
I don't think so. That was 2 minutes ago. Is it? Thor, do you know if it will only send one webhook? Like, it should send both of these, right? Or should I, like, disable this or something? I can check the logs. I hope this doesn't. It's not sending anything. Like, it's not even getting the subscription. Am I on the wrong account? Corgi subscriptions. Right? And these are the keys we use, so it wouldn't. That's the right one. Successful requests. It's like it's not doing anything. Can I find my customer object? Yeah, let me pull this off so I don't accidentally show a bunch of other people's email before I find mine. I don't even have. What the heck? Okay, so I'm not in here, which means this has got to be something else. Stripe Jamstack subscriptions, maybe? Yeah, that was what it was. Okay.
Account?
Yeah, I had it hooked up to the other thing. So let's get a webhook registered here. So I'm going to add a new endpoint. I'm going to grab, nope, this here. And we're going to do that subscription updated. All right, so this has been a whole lot of user error.
Can you explain what just happened and what was wrong?
Yes,
I wasn't sure.
So basically, what happened is I have multiple Stripe accounts, and gotcha. I thought we were using this one, but we actually moved it over to this one when we took the Stripe example live. So that's just me being in completely the wrong account. So
making too much money with Stripe, huh? That's the thing.
Yeah. So let me get this webhook secret flipped over, and we'll try this one more time, and it's gonna work for us. So we've got our webhook secret. I have swapped that now for the third time. Third time's a charm is what I've been told. Let's trigger this thing. It's gonna build in a few seconds. And as soon as it's built, we will give it another try. I do love filling out forms, Brandon. That's absolutely what I'm into. Come on. Okay, so that's done. So now I'm going to go in here. I'm going to manage my subscription. I'm going to update my plan to the Pro plan. Yes. Okay. We're going to go over here. We're going to look at our webhook attempts. And there it is. That's what it should have done the first time.
That looks good. Yeah.
And so this, we got back at 200 and it says it was received. And if I go into identity, I can see now that we're a pro. And if I go back to this page, we can see pro content, but not premium content. Okay, so it was a little bit of a long and windy road here, but right in the nick of time, with 2 minutes left to spare, we managed to get fully functional content gating with Contentful. So, I mean, this is really sweet. Like it took very little effort to get this up and running. And most of the hiccups that we hit were me trying to understand how this thing was wired up and not actually, here we go with the stampede. Most of the issues that we hit were not issues with Contentful, but more issues with like migrating a hard-coded data over to the Contentful data. But this is pretty slick. Like, where should people go if they want to dig further into this? Like, what do you recommend as a next step here?
Well, if people want to start playing around with Contentful, the Contentful/developers is the best place. If people are new to GraphQL, /developers, so usually you can go everywhere from here. And
okay.
If people are new to GraphQL, over the last week, I recorded. If you scroll down a little bit,
oh sure.
And scroll down. You see there, learn GraphQL with React and Contentful. That's what I just recorded last week or something.
Very cool.
80 minutes Contentful, GraphQL and stuff.
Nice.
And if people have questions, I've seen a rich text questions about Contentful rich text in the chat. I'm available on Twitter for all things Contentful, so that usually works best.
Excellent. All right. Well, Stefan, thank you so much for taking time today and for hanging out with us and teaching us about Contentful. Chat, thank you as always for hanging out. And a quick shout out to our sponsors. I forgot to shout it out at the beginning, but we've had White Coat Captioning here doing live captioning for the whole show. We always want to make this show as accessible as possible to as many people. And that is made possible through the generous contributions of our sponsors. We've got Netlify, Fauna, Sanity, and Auth0 all out here kicking in to make the show more available to more people. So thank you as always. It is very much appreciated. With that, I think we're going to call this one done. Chat, stay tuned.
On point, Jason.
We're going to raid. Stefan, thank you so much for hanging out. We will see you next time.